Hello, and welcome to the FEE3 showcase for Bells of Byelen. My name is Zillerite, and here with me are other developers of this game, uh, Lug and BPAT. What is the actual full title, Lug? Is it Legend of Lug on the forums?
It's Legend of Loewe. No one really calls me that because it's a mouthful. Loewe is fine.
All right.
Too many words.
Much.
So this project was a collaborative project that we've been working on for, how long has this one been in development for?
A bit over a year.
Yeah, I started setup of the build file around June. It was a pretty slow process at the beginning. We didn't really start chapter development until August.
I just turned you up a little bit there. Yeah, this is a project. It is similar to Call of the Armor, if you are familiar with that one. I believe that came out last year, right?
Last
Yep.
May or
right.
yeah.
And that project was a telephone project, telephone hack, which means that it was constructed by having one person start on a chapter and do any changes that were involved there in terms of new items, new characters, new plot progression, and then passing it along to the next person for that person to implement their own ideas based on what came before. Sort of like a game of broken telephone, but for the development process of a game. I came into this project, it feels like I joined it pretty late, but when I actually look at the timeline of it, it was only a couple chapters in. I just didn't have a chapter of my own for a very long time after that. But I really enjoyed working on this project, and it was a real good time getting to work with a whole bunch of skilled developers to make something sort of collaborative and special. One of the big things that sort of sets this hack apart from Call of the Armor is the sort of mechanical baseline of the hack, where it's very heavily based on the mechanics from Thracia 776. It has God, there's so many. It's got capture, it's got fatigue, it's got move stars and movement growths, con growths, the follow-up critical coefficient or whatever that's called, the
PCC.
yeah.
Yeah, it's either PCC or FCM, which is follow-up critical modifier,
I see.
depending on the translation, I think.
And it has all of these mechanics, as well as several more, as we'll see in this first chapter, which is an indoor chapter. The hack has dismount. I'm going to let the story content play before we get there, though. And as a result, it has a very distinct kind of sandbox, because, well, it starts with the standard Thracia kind of sandbox. It, over the course of development, evolved into its own thing. It has a lot of kind of fancy custom skills that you wouldn't have seen in a game like Thracia. Lots of sort of niche weapons that are interesting.
Yeah, one of I think the bigger changes that were made during development was actually after your first playtest, where you went through, I think, chapter 10, and I was looking at the levels in XP, and I was like, wow, this is really way too high.
Yeah, I remember that.
Added, I think, Turtle's Cleo was like nearly level 20 by level 10.
She had like nearly cap strength or something, right?
She's insane. So I was like, okay, we need something to curb that. So then Pick helped write, and then I added to Fate's XP. It's a little different from the public version that you might find in like a FE Builder patch. There's some considerations for pre-promotes and giving different units that joined earlier promoted lower internal levels than they would have otherwise. So like you'll see her in a second here, the Thief Fighter Mira, her level is technically level 1. Because she's promoted, she would normally be level 21 for XP purposes, which means she would get nothing basically for like 10 chapters or so.
Forever.
For a very long time. So instead, she is level 6 internally. And this list is in the guide. Everyone else is, I think, 10 levels lower, so they're just plus 10 whatever they display as.
I remember those early playtests where what I'm trying to remember what other major changes were made. Wasn't there used to be thieves were incredibly powerful because
thieves were way stronger.
They could just completely shut down mages because of how tome weight worked.
Yeah,
it used to have the Thracia tome weight, right, where your con wouldn't help you avoid the AS loss, but this meant that tomes were really light, so everything could get stolen.
Yeah, so see, the thing in Thracia is they're heavier still, but that makes mages that aren't like Asbel or someone OP kind of bad, because they're weighed down by like 8 or whatever, something heavy. So I was like, okay, we should reduce that. But then, you know, Steel Plus exists, so what we ended up doing was removing the con thing because it's bad anyway, and now it's a lot less broken, which is nice.
Right, because you can, as we can do here, you can steal weapons right off of people even if they're holding them.
Still very strong.
Yeah, you can just kind of shut some people down. I think this guy's probably the harder to kill of the people here, so we're just going to yoink that real quick. It's mine now. On this chapter, our goal is to get to this corner. As we go, we have some villagers to free, Helm and Seni, and here we've got Loewe. Loewe? That's how it's pronounced? I've heard so many conflicting accounts of how to pronounce this.
I'm honestly not sure either.
There's a couple different ones.
Svet.
Yeah.
So we want to free these guys. We want to get our chests, and we want to get to the top. And it ends up being a pretty tight timer, all things considered.
Yeah, that's what I've gotten from feedback generally, that it's kind of tight. Which on the one hand, like, you want your first chapter to probably be somewhat lenient. On the other hand, I kind of want it to be tense since it's an escape chapter, so I'd like fiddle with things to make it a little easier.
I think I generally found that it was, and I'm just showing off the Iskra skill here, because she attacked with the Thunder spell, this guy can't counterattack us. But I found that the chapter wasn't, like, impossible, right? Obviously, you can beat it, and it's fun and satisfying to go through and beat it all. But it can get pretty dangerous if you're not prepared for some of what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess we don't even need to kill that guy, so I can just do this talk conversation and then yoink our items off this guy.
Yeah, so someone mentioned there's some interesting FE5 mechanics that we didn't add. Staff missing. Hopefully it is obvious why that wasn't added.
Yeah.
No, it was so cool.
I think we're better off without it.
Yeah, there are some things, you know. I learned this especially in development, because at first I wanted to be more faithful FE5, like a proper juke draw fan. But you know, you eventually just learn, hey, this is stinky, we should remove it. So, hopefully with staff missing, I never had to make that decision, because it was already bad, and it was a pain to implement too. So it was just like perfect storm to never add it.
Yeah, why spend the effort to make the game worse?
Basically.
Isn't that all hacking is at the end of the day?
I mean, you can't get any better than FE8, really.
So
That's
true.
basically the peak of the series.
Yeah. couple other features from FE5 that did not make it into this game is the hit is no longer capped at 99. There is still 1 RN, but you'll never have that annoying 1% chance to just miss something that you really should hit. And then also we don't have Thracia fog, so any fog maps, we will actually be able to see the terrain.
See, I played through Thracia basically right before I started leading, I guess, this project. And I was really infuriated by Thracia fog because it's just like, can't see where I'm going, I can't see anything. How is this a strategy game? So I didn't really want to enforce that here. Technically, anyone could have done it if they added a new tile set, because it's just as simple as having a totally black palette for your fog palettes. But thankfully, no one did. So
What a missed opportunity.
I know.
Man, it's been a while since I've played this sort of opening sequence here, and it's I don't know what word I'm thinking of. I'm gonna use the word cute. It's cute to see where the game started compared to looking at what the game's like by the end after everyone's changes and the way the plot sort of progressed over time.
It definitely changes a lot.
I love the telephone format. It's so fun to just see how much things change over time.
I think the struggle with telephone is like, how spontaneous should it be, and how much quality control should there be? And that was something I definitely struggled with leading this, because, like, you know, on the one hand, if something's really bad, I wanted to change it. But on the other hand, if I don't agree with something, but like still not necessarily objectively bad, then I don't really want to change it if someone else did it, because that's their part of this this project.
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting process to watch, trying to figure out sort of in what ways should the game be changed when something's not working versus how much of this do we want to be sort of faithful for to the vision of the individual developers. I think we ended up hitting a pretty good balance, at least in my opinion. But
Yeah, 'cause a lot of it was on the fly too, because because this was in some ways a lot more intensive than Coda was. We had to do a lot more learning, I guess, along the way, like what worked, what can we just give up
For sure.
in terms of individual autonomy, I guess, in every chapter.
It was a lot less strict of a telephone than Call of the Armor, for sure. We wouldn't be super reluctant to go back and just make things better when I called for it.
right, that was one thing that I remember I was very excited about. Maybe that's a weird way to describe it, but I remember there was a bunch of stuff where I was like, this seems really cool, but it would be cooler if we were able to kind of change things that came before around a little bit to really accommodate for the design, so to speak. Maybe not the design, but the ideas that ended up developing. And I gotta bring this vet down here, I think.
It's really about, I was saying this the other day, but it's really about like the journey more to me, like how things move from point to point rather than each point being the exact same throughout the entirety of the development cycle. It's like, telephone is like a really interesting idea. If you stick really close to it and you don't really do anything complex, then it's probably fine. But there are some things where like really do need to change it if it doesn't work. That was basically what we learned here.
Yeah.
The few things that were changed after the fact that really definitely needed to be. And there are probably still some things that before we finish development we'll have to do. That's just the process, right? I mean, normal.
By the
group
way,
project.
we might want to turn off the animations for the sake of getting
Ah,
through this.
right. I forgot that we have gone to a new turn. Sorry, I've been having such a nice conversation about this game. I completely forgot that that's the thing that I do.
Oh, at least we got it before the enemy phase. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of combat here. It's just the one, right?
Yeah, the merms are out of reach, so
That's my mistake. Sorry, guys.
no worries.
Oh man,
This is
it's
the
my man.
yeah. Kyrat seems to really like this guy.
He's
Brings it up
pretty
whenever
funny.
the text comes up.
I really liked. I had to do a character that was kind of a placeholder character for one of the cutscenes later in the game. And because I didn't have the mug inserted yet, I just used the first mug that I saw, which was that guy. So, it was very funny to have this big, ominous new character show up, and then it's just the guy from Chapter 1. He's this little bit part villain.
Jerk that just sacrifices his soldiers. He's back. Yeah, it was pretty funny. I saw it in game.
And here we have Elena. I love this unit. This is like every single time I've played this game, I've invested in this unit, and every single time I've been like, yeah, it was a good choice.
Well, the
She's
people
just so
love
awesome.
F-merms, so
Yes, I love F-merms. They're so cool.
yeah. She's kind of weird because I was just like, do a strength merm, which is kind of dumb because, I mean, that's what the sword merc class is for, right? But, you know, I did it anyway. So
Oh.
he has this kind of, he ends up having like basically equal strength and speed as you go on until probably promotion, because that gives like 3 speed or something. 3 of your promo bonuses are cracked.
Yeah, well, conventions are meant to be broken, right?
Yes, I agree.
Which is what the new Svetomir does. He's like super bulky.
Yeah, I love Svetomir. For just like a random healer guy, this guy's so cool.
The move stars. Move stars are key.
Move stars are
Yeah.
so good. I can't
It's like
get
5%
this capture.
for each, right?
Yeah, so he has a 15% chance to move once per turn, I guess, which is
Yeah.
obviously super good, especially for a staffer.
It'll probably happen like 1 or 2 times in most chapters.
No, the 1RN.
Oh man,
One of the best Thracia mechanics.
I think we're gonna have to rework the hack, guys. That was awful.
I'm a pretty fierce 1RN fan, but sometimes you see stuff like that. Painful. It is what Cleo's charisma boost is for, because like I feel like if you have 1RN but you don't have any way to guarantee hits, then it's really awful. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's also why Cleo has the perf, the Argo Labris. It has like 100 hit or something. Is
Dude,
basically
slowing low down so much.
He
That
just really
body
wants
but
to
yeah,
block.
this
kill
guy's
him.
just in the way.
It's like your entourage.
Hmm.
Yeah, actually, weapon hit rates across the board are a lot higher than Thracia. Like, originally, I think it just ripped the stats straight from Thracia, but that resulted in some very sketchy hit rates. So a lot of
Yeah,
them were changed to improve this.
Yeah, because like Thracia, the enemies aren't like really, really, really weak. They're still kind of weak. They're not like insanely weak.
Yeah,
They
that
got
was
buffed
the
quite a
other.
bit, didn't they?
Yeah,
But they did.
I
They're
remember now.
scaling
That was the
mainly.
other big like rework thing that I was trying to remember what it was.
Their
It was like-
scaling got increased a lot because late in the game, unpromoted units and even some promoted units were just kind of sketchy. So
Svetomir. He's so
see,
cool.
there you go, move star. But yeah, that was another big change. Item stats I think all got increased by like 15 hit or something. 'Cause it was pretty necessary.
Yeah. Also, Triangle is a little stronger than Thracia. I don't remember what it ended up on. Was it 10 hit?
It's 10 hit and then 1 mount, which is basically like, it's just like 5 hit less than FE8. Think about it.
Yeah,
It turned out pretty decent.
Really, the five hit no damage Triangle wasn't even relevant at all. So This
Yeah, that
works
was
out.
pretty. It's pretty useless. Well, just like in Thracia, but again, that's just an example of something where like early in the game, just development, I was like, yeah, I really want to do what Thracia did, and then after some time, I'm like, I really don't want to do what Thracia did. So
Turns out, not the best idea.
Yeah, we definitely
Pretty
learned like what mechanics work better than others here.
yeah,
Iskra. Yeah. Does Iskra...
Iskra,
Didn't we do a new mug for Iskra, or is that not is that
there
one
was
not being
one.
used?
There's one update that wasn't. I don't think the frames were ever done, but yeah, there's one floating out there. Not sure if we'll actually use it or not. Yeah, it looks nice. It's just like hair's all sparked up and stuff because she's a thunder mage, something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, like
It's a neat one.
so. As mentioned by someone in the chat, half the mugs in here are like from Laurent or edited from Laurent in this first chapter, the playables.
Yes.
Funny, but Laurent, yeah, a lot of mugs, and they're all pretty good. So that's why you see him in a lot of hacks.
I love a good Laurent mug.
Yeah,
is
they're
it
really
safe for
good.
me to move up here? I think you just target Elena like every time, so it doesn't really matter. Let's keep the momentum going. Make sure everyone's moving forward at a decent clip. Uh-oh. Whoever it is.
I wonder who that's gonna be.
It could be anybody. Oh, I'm so excited to find out.
This is the second warning because I remember early in the development, I think it was pointed out that it wasn't really warned enough. I was like, all right, I'll have two. I think that's worked pretty well. The first one where it's like, hey, somebody's coming, and the second one where it's like, hey, someone's really coming, you should move. Yeah.
I think I should just be able to eat a hit from the boss with any of these units.
Well, if Iskra
so,
can
yeah.
survive, then anybody should survive.
Yeah, she has like one defense, so.
Gotta mend.
Mend is nice because you can spam it while you're in the prison arc, I guess. Spoilers, there's a prison arc.
Right.
Um,
It's because isn't it the
Fatigue.
fatigue from staff is the same as the rank, right?
Yeah, so it would normally be 2 for every use, but because you're in this part of the game, fatigue doesn't increment yet. But it's kind of an exploit, but I do it every time, so nice. You can build up weapon XP pretty quick and get Svetomir to like C rank. I think I decreased it. It's fluctuated a lot during the development. At one point it was like D, which was terrible, and it was C for a while, but that I felt was too good. So now it's like D and a half, I think.
Weapon rank here is notably capped at A, but you gain it very, very slowly for the most part.
Yeah,
There he is.
this
Boro.
is pretty much ripped straight from Thracia, where every weapon rank is 50 points, which means, if you're an E rank, you're going to be there for a while. But there's a certain bow unit who joins later who knows that better than anybody.
Oh man. Yep.
Always funny seeing her at like level 15 and almost at D rank.
You're about to promote, and you're like 1 point off. Yeah, so because of that, weapon XP increases pretty slowly, and also the kill bonus from vanilla is removed because I don't know, I'm just not a fan because I feel like it increases weapon XP too fast.
Elena's so cool.
There you go, another Moostar.
I didn't even know there's a boss quip between those two.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had them fight either until now.
But yeah, because of that, weapon experience matters a lot more than in vanilla, I would say.
Oh yeah, and promotion gives you a ton of weapon experience. I believe it normally gives a full weapon level, so 50 weapon experience, and 2 if you promote into a class that can only use one weapon type and is also infantry, right?
Yeah, that's right. The only exception is Thief, which gets 1 rank still. But Besides that, yeah, sword masters, snipers, berserkers, and champions, which is the lance mono weapon infantry class, which Boro is here. They all get 2 ranks, but everybody else gets 1.
Alright. We're nearly at the end of this chapter here. So as we go through this little dialogue and then get everyone through to the escape point, after this we're going to show off one of the interlude chapters. This is something that Call of the Armor had as well, but they're a little bit more significant in this project. Primarily in terms of their role as a sort of... They're kind of like a way to cap off an arc and kick off the next one, so to speak. So they tend to have a lot of kind of story content and some talk conversations that you can view, and things like that. It's
Yeah. I think one of the big differences in terms of how interludes were handled is that we developed them while we were making the hack, which I could actually, and I wrote them all because figured it made sense to, as Hill said, sort of cap off an arc and move us into a new one. So to sort of curb any meandering that the story might otherwise do.
There was a little bit of meandering that
Still
happened.
some anyway, but I think it
definitely
worked.
helped.
Worked sometimes. Then because of that, yeah, there was a lot more story content. There are a few other changes, but that's because of mechanics related to this game, like dismount and stuff. So all the mounted units in an interlude, or at least in the next one, be
Right, I
dismounted
forgot
already.
to point out, I was looking at the stats, but I never actually
Right,
commented.
yes.
But these little minuses here to showcase what the dismount penalties are on these units.
Yep.
So you can get a better idea of what your unit would look like were they to be mounted up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on that subject, a lot of movement across the board is a little bit higher than in Fire Emblem 8. But dismounted mounted units have 5 move, which is lower than other infantry. So it really sucks to use them indoors, but you have to in the early
Yeah.
game.
They share movement with armors, and then I believe staff units are also 5 move. But you'll see, like with Iskra, because she's only a magic unit, she is 6. Then, yeah, and then because of that, obviously, mounted units have a lot of movement range, which the maps had to sort of consider, because you have like a move unit in tier 1, which is pretty huge.
Yeah.
You also have your lords are very mobile as well throughout most of the game.
Yeah, having 2 8-move flying lords is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, definitely.
It's funny how it's sort of like when you reach the first outdoor chapter, you get kind of powered up as so much of your starting cast is actually mounted.
Yeah. It's definitely a huge spike. It wasn't before because like really early in the development, there's this whole thing where I didn't have the there's like a ASMC which will automatically mount all the units if you're in an outdoors chapter. That didn't exist at the time, so you would still have them all be dismounted, and they'd have to spend the first turn mounting up. So, but
yeah,
now,
that was a bit
now they're
unfortunate.
now they're immediately mounted. So, yeah, it's pretty nice.
I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed playing with dismount as a mechanic, because on paper it's like it is just kind of a straight nerf to the player to have to dismount your mounted units in these situations, but especially in conjunction with mechanics like the fatigue making you want to rotate your cast a bunch, it ends up leading to a situation where you're encouraged to use lots of different types of units, and the various niches that your party occupies are more defined and more meaningful in general. So we're going to skip here to Interlude 5X This is Interlude 1, but it takes place after Chapter 5.
Mm.
So at this point, I guess just like a really rough story summary is the party manages to escape from that prison that we saw them in, but unfortunately it doesn't go entirely according to plan, and during their escape back to their headquarters, they meet a knowledgeable old man named Kwame, who becomes an important fixture of the main ensemble as the game goes on. And here we're joining them as they regroup at their headquarters to sort of figure out what they're going to do in the wake of what happened in the prison, which is it's going to end up being shown in this dialogue anyways, but it's
More
Good skip
importantly,
it, I
they
guess.
recruit 2 new
Prevent
units.
spoilers.
exactly, they do
think
recruit
anyone
2 new
cares.
units. It's like Chapter 3, it's barely a spoiler.
It doesn't really matter. It's like, I don't know.
Oh,
it's
the
like
new
saying,
Kwame mug, I love him. I forgot that he has a new mug.
It's like Ike finds Princess Alencia or something like that. Not really a big
Basically.
spoiler.
But yeah, the cool part about these chapters is that you're given a cast of units to choose from, and you get to pick 2 of them. It gives you a chance to sort of, maybe if you're Iron Manning and you've lost some units, you can pick up some replacements. If there's a unit who looks kind of interesting and you feel like you can spare the extra deployment slot to run a character for that reason, then you can pick up a unit who's maybe not the most powerful but looks fun. Sometimes you can just grab units based on their inventory if you feel like that's more meaningful to you than new units. It's sort of a fun way, I've found, to kind of personalize your army as you go for a run, and it makes sort of repeat playthroughs of the game feel a lot more interesting, and comparing and contrasting multiple playthroughs of the game a lot more interesting, because even just something as simple as having an extra mage in the early game can really dramatically change the way you evaluate units as you go.
Yeah, the idea is originally ripped from Tearing Saga, which had unit selection interludes, which I believe it was like 4 units, and then you could pick 1. Here it's 6 for every interlude, and yeah, you can pick 2. So basically you have 3 playthroughs of something unique there, which I think is cool. Because there's a really large cast in this game, like really, really large. Typically at any given time, I believe you can have 60 units by the end.
Oh wait,
Then-
really? I thought it was 50. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had to
The
do some
technology is now
hacking.
Oh right.
to,
Yeah, I remember now.
save more.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you get 60 total. And
Yeah,
then, what else? Oh yeah, and then there's the mutually exclusive amounts. I believe in total there's like 72 units that you can use, including the interlude guys. So there's a lot of units. There might be even more later, but who knows?
Was it 6 units in each interlude? I think that was what it was.
6 in
right?
each. And you get D4 through normal gameplay, so 54 plus 18, yeah, 72.
I believe one of my units is in this chapter,
Yes.
with
Um,
still just a repo portrait that I have not updated. I swear I
a Nick
will.
mug.
I've been busy recording for the event that you guys are watching right now.
Very cool event, so it's a worthwhile use of time. Yeah,
It's so
there's
exciting. We're not.
units here.
Are we going to be uploading this forum post before this video goes up, or is it going to be
Yeah.
kind of a?
The forum post should be uploaded 2 weeks ahead of time for the actual FEE3 starts. The goal for release is October 1st.
I see. So this isn't quite going to be the first time people are seeing this game.
It probably will be for some, but yeah,
Oh, of
it'll be
course.
online before that. Yeah.
I see. It's exciting.
Yeah,
It's been
I
in
mean,
development for so long, and it's finally almost here.
It's a much longer term project than the first telephone was, mostly because of a lot of the complexity and then additional chapters, moving to a build file, which a lot of our members aren't as experienced with as they are with Builder. So time was allotted and time was needed to learn differences.
Do we want to view the various talk conversations here, or do we just want to go straight to
We
recruiting?
can skip those, I think.
All right. But here we've got our cast of units. These are green units. I believe we've done some little wizardry here so that we can check their growths.
Yes. You can check any of these interlude units, no matter their faction. So, you know what you're in for. You know that your bard there has a 25% speed growth. For instance.
These are not recruitable.
Not
These
those ones. Only the interlude units.
Oh, Mish. I still need to do a run with Mish. Seems like a
She's
really
pretty
fun
funny.
unit.
The real strategy for the interludes is to pick the 2 funniest units every time.
Definitely. For this one, it's probably Mish and Denza, I guess.
Yeah, those 2 are pretty
Funniest
funny.
units.
I've seen Matthias seems pretty strong.
He's pretty good, yeah. He's also a very late addition. I think he's the last interlude unit, maybe, that was
I
added.
believe so. Because there used to only be 5 here for a very long time.
Very well. Let's boogie.
Pretty funny dialogue. You can credit Knight Morris for that if you want.
Yes, Morris.
Morris, very cool.
Morris is like me. He has his fingers in every telephone pie.
Yeah. Crazy how many telephones there are out there. Not involved, I think, in any except for this one. There's a lot, and looking forward to seeing them all release.
Forgot to show off the Mish dagger. 1 second.
Oh yeah. Perf.
Yeah,
It's definitely a funny weapon.
You've got
Funny
the,
one that I will never use.
the devil dagger. Yeah, I'm not a gambling man.
Maybe after they get some levels.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the weapon, but I did use it to kill the Chapter 6 boss before, so...
And do we want to watch a little bit of Chapter 6 here, just so we can show off
Yeah,
my
I have
main
some
man?
time.
Awesome, let's do it.
And
It's
show
definitely-
something I added literally like 5 minutes or I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. I don't really remember when I did
like
it. but
just
the point
before
is,
recording
today,
this.
I added something interesting to a certain unit.
Oh,
That is
well,
very
that's
funny.
exciting. Brand new content?
And new.
Yeah.
It's
This-
fresh off the presses.
This upcoming chapter is definitely one of the most ambitious chapters that I've ever seen in a Fire Emblem hack.
It's the most
Ah.
unique, I would say, out of probably any of them in the hack. Just it operates on a different wavelength, you know. Really imaginative.
I'm just gonna skip this part of the cutscene. I want to
There's not much there.
try to get us to the important
Needs to
stuff
be known.
here. Like my boy. I feel like so many people in the team working on this one love this guy so much. Skip that lore. Where is he?
Yeah, it's the same reason that Killian was so loved in the original game or the original telephone, because he's edgy,
He's edgy,
just edgy
he's
enough
funny.
where he's serious. He's still kind of a meme. His skill just adds to that, which you'll see in a bit.
He's a huge meme.
McCallum, he took everything. Oh man, I've never actually seen the updated Chapter 6 dialogue. Yeah, it's so cool.
This was
He's such a
yeah.
cool guy.
It used to be a lot cheesier and I guess more ridiculous than it is now.
placeholder. It was more like placeholder, but then
Yeah.
Pandan rewrote it. I rewrote some minor parts that were mostly gameplay related, but the majority of it is Pandan, which maybe you'll see a food reference here or there that will tip you off.
I still remember when the line was something like,
I will kill you dead.
No, what was it? It was like Lena would walk up to him and be like, Cromar, stop this. And Cromar just went, no. That was
Oh,
the
yeah,
whole line.
That was good.
It was really good in its own way. I don't know. It was just, especially because of the contrast from 5X, which is like, just all, there's a lot of dialogue there. And it's, I guess, more serious in tone. Then you move to this, and it's just a gut buster. It was pretty funny.
I'm going to skip from here so we can see that gameplay.
Oh, the funny dialogue.
Oh, not Draken.
There's a lot of funny dialogue. By this point, we have a bunch of new units, including those various interlude units. We're not going to show all of them off. But the big sort of gimmick of this chapter is this. You have this arena where you fight waves of enemies. Oh man, it's even more fancy than it was the last time I played it. That's so cool.
I reworked it a little bit just to make it shorter. It just plays a little more smoothly. It's almost the same as it was in terms of gameplay as it was at the start. Basically, you go into the arena, you stay in the arena, and after each round, you get healed up.
Right, because before it would boot you out every time, right?
Before you would have to leave to get healed.
Yeah, and then re-enter.
Which it did take some time, so I just figured let's streamline this, make it the best version of it that it can be.
And let's just end turn and have our guys fight here. Am I safe? Is somebody gonna die and ruin my plans?
Who cares?
Possibly.
Lena probably will die, yeah.
Yeah, let's just not let that happen. As you can see here, we can dismount, we can mount. We've got our flying lords and everything. By this point, the sandbox has opened up quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
You have a bow flyer, which is basically one of my favorite types of units because it's just so fun, especially with Canto Plus.
Yeah,
You
and
just start
notably,
back and forth.
flyers cannot rescue mounts cannot rescue other mounts unless they're dismounted. That's kind of
Yes.
interesting.
The
Oh,
fog
what
of
happened?
war,
Shut
what
down.
happened?
It's crazy.
Suddenly, there's fog.
Let's go investigate.
Now he's glowing.
What?
Yeah, I just added this like an hour ago.
That's awesome.
Epicer, Nav Epicer, Recipe Bank, whatever you want to call him. He made the portraits for Cromar, both the glowing version and the original.
Oh, that's so cool.
We just use the ASM that lets you change the portrait based off flag. So now he's got aura going on.
Oh man, I gotta compose myself. The big
I know,
gimmick
it's
of
pretty
Cromar
good.
is that whenever he does combat, he brings down fog, but he's this incredibly powerful pre-promote. So if you
He's
choose to
very
use
strong.
him, he can tear maps to shreds, but you end up with the fog of war. So you have to
He
play
also
in a
has
very
his-
different way.
So has a
got
sword that
Dullahan. Dullahan? Dullahan?
yeah, it's also from Tearing Saga.
I see.
Yeah, this
So he's immortal, kind of.
until the
little
sword
bit.
breaks.
Until the sword
Basically.
breaks.
He doesn't even really need it now because he's actually strong.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
so good. Used to be Cromar was the worst unit in the hack, but we loved him
Really? Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
Now I bet he's the best unit in the hack. I'm not gonna
Let's
think
not go
about
that
it
far.
any harder.
I don't know. He still makes chapters worth just by existing.
He makes them better. We love fog.
Or he makes them
chapters here.
harder just by existing.
And
He's a lot more usable now, for
this
sure.
is a
Yeah.
very, very involved chapter, so I don't think we're going to play this one through. We just wanted to show off Cromar because he's our boy. We love Cromar, and so that's gonna be it for that. Any closing remarks you guys want to make before we do our little outro here?
Really, I guess just thanks for watching. This will be a completed hack by the time you see this video, so if you're interested in what you've seen, just go check it out on FE Universe.
I'm going to go ahead and give a big, big shout out and thank you to everyone at Team Adversity, anyone that helped with the art, the music, interlude units, or just, the direct kind of writing and development and chapter creation and all that. It's been super fun to work with you guys. and it's been really awesome to watch this project grow into what it's become now. It's
we couldn't have done it without the team.
It's been a fascinating process, and I'm so excited to have people finally get to play this game, so I can finally talk about it, and not just have to be like, oh, there's this other project that I'm a part of where we tried this thing. I'll get to actually talk about it for real. So excited.
Make tier lists.
Make tier lists.
Oh, man.
Yes.
And people for them.
Finally.
Cromar is a F for fog tier.
No, Cromar is S for shadows tier. We love him. All right. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching this FEE3 showcase. I hope all of you enjoy the rest of your FEE3. And I hope to see you all in the forum thread for Bells of Byelen when it comes out. Because I want everyone in the whole world to play this game. I think it's awesome. I want the president to play this game. That's
I'll
right.
have to give him a call.
This is a direct call out to Joe Biden to play this game. Alright. Enjoy the rest of your FE3, everyone. Goodbye.